What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania, episode number 57, your nerdy public radio for all things entertainment and pop culture. And you know what they say, John? Third time's a charm.
It is exactly what they say.
My name is Zach Rotello, at Zach Rotello on Twitter, at Zach Rotello on Instagram, and all the social media feeds that you want to, go put your head into. And sitting across from me is the Coke Zero Sugar sluggin', John Swansong Parker.
It does have zero sugar, but I gotta be honest, this new and improved taste tastes just like a regular old Coke.
Tastes just exactly like just regular old Coke.
That's a lie, it doesn't. Nothing.
I personally... have we had the Diet Coke discussion before?
No, let's talk about it.
I personally don't taste much of a difference. Really at all. In fact, sometimes when I have... Experiencing Coke is all about how it's bottled, right?
It's the real thing, yeah.
Well, it's how it's bottled. So it's like a can of Coke tastes different than a 2-liter. A 2-liter tastes different than a 1-liter. 1-liter tastes different than just like a little like 750 milliliter bottle. And then there's the aluminum Cokes.
Like the aluminum twist-off bottles?
Yeah. Every bottled Coke tastes a little bit different.
What's your favorite?
It's going to be heresy. But I'm going to go with a Fountain Diet Coke.
A Fountain Diet Coke.
Fountain Diet Coke.
Over just a regular Coke from a fountain?
I would have to agree.
Really?
Because I think regular Coke is too sweet for me.
It's because you're old.
That could be possibly true. I'm just kicking back Marlboro Lights and Diet Coke, and I'm driving a station wagon.
You can't.
Just like my grandma.
Your body can't handle the sugars.
Yeah. But what's your favorite kind of Coke?
Coke Classic out of a glass bottle.
Coke Classic out of a glass. Actually, you know what? I'd be doing heresy to homage.
You know what I
right
said?
Now.
I said Coke Classic in a glass bottle, and you know what just happened inside your brain?
What's that?
Little synapses fired of these beautiful memories in the summer when it was hot, and you opened up a glass bottle of Coke and took a couple swigs, and life was simpler back then.
Petbridge Farm, remember?
There was a man who once tried a glass bottle of Coke for the first time. We took that memory and we played it over and over again in his mind. Come home to Simple Zach's.
We're not going to publicly say that we're sponsored by Homage because we're not getting any money from them. But stop by Homage.
We should talk to him about that.
That would be a lot of fun. But stop by an Homage store. We'll get you a free Coke. Zach approved. I work there.
I don't, but I have a shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Or two from there. Yeah, I have two.
But so if you've never listened to an episode of Radiovania, you're in for a treat because this is the show. We're going to talk about some nonsense interspersed between topics of pop culture and video games and movies, and we've got quite a bit of interesting sports, maybe. Well, speaking of sports, if we have to pause the episode or if we have to do any sort of jumping around here, we apologize. But John is actually our league manager for our fantasy baseball team.
Peter is in, so we are all set to go to draft tonight. All 8 members.
Perfecto.
For our league, the Vindicators 4.
I'm sure Dan Harmon would be very proud of us.
So we're good to go.
Good to go.
You have my full undivided attention now. I'm out of my business meeting.
No, it's no worries.
And I'm here.
If we get any notifications, we'll let the viewers know.
Yeah.
We'll be stepping out for just a few seconds. But we've got a lot of awesome stuff to talk about here. We've got superhero movies with box offices. We got some Marvel news about casting rumors and what that means for Infinity War. We also have news about X-Men. Got news about DCEU. If you're sick of hearing about that, sorry, keeps on. That train's just a choo-choo. It's got some roads rolling.
It's like a runaway train, though, at this point, right?
Yeah.
Or like Speed 3, where you got all the characters on a train that's going to explode at the end, and there's no way to stop it.
We got some news about Donald Glover, Jurassic World, Rotten Tomatoes, and Rick and Morty. So stay tuned.
I enjoy a majority of those things.
Yes, and me too. Most of these things I would consume on a regular basis.
And even the stuff that I don't enjoy, I'm still probably going to consume it.
Exactly. So let's start out by saying the last time we recorded a show was 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2.5, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And we've almost gone through, at this point, all of March. So lots of stuff has been happening in March. I went on a trip to Colorado. John's been working a lot. We've been hanging.
Did you hang out with some of that medicinal when you were out in Colorado?
Hey, that's not for the records. Let's not put that on the records then. But I want to know what you've been playing. What you've been playing, you've been watching, what have you been listening to, reading? What's been your stuff in March, John?
All right. So in March, I've been playing several video games simultaneously. I've been playing Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, on Brutal, and let me tell you, it's brutal. I'm at the shipyard part.
Oh, the shipyard, man.
Holy
Fuck the shipyard.
crap,
Holy
is that
cow.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard on any regular difficulty. That might be the hardest section in any Uncharted game.
It is. I would agree tenfold, because I'm stuck at this one spot where people are like popping out of the ground and stuff, and it's just like, it's so difficult.
Yeah. The one where you have to climb, the moment where you have to get to the ladder and climb it, I remember that being really tricky, because there's like a lot of the guys perched up on like things, and you got to take care of snipers, and there's people running at you. It's like, it's a whole mess.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I'm just trying to get to the desert, like, more than anything.
Yeah. You're shooting for that platy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm grinding on all of them. The only ones that I've completed are Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 2.
Okay.
I have to play through the first one on Brutal one time in order to get the platy for the first one. Mm-hmm. And then I have a lot of work to do on Lost Legacy and Drake's Deception, which are the two that I'm playing.
I've been flirting around recently with going back to Lost Legacy.
I played it again for the second time, and it's really fun.
Did you play it the second time on a harder difficulty, or what'd you do?
Yeah.
How
I
is
played
it?
on a harder difficulty, but I didn't realize that you don't get a trophy for hard. You only get one for
crushing, right?
Crushing and normal. So I should have played through it on crushing. Oh well, I'll play it again. It's short and fun, and I did do a couple of trophies on my second playthrough, like with using various guns and like some of those like weapon sequencing stuff that they had for Uncharted 4. But yeah, it's cool. Look for more treasures before opening up a guide to crank through finding all the treasures.
Nice. So
I got pretty close. I just spent a lot of time just kind of walking around. Yeah, and then I've also been playing MLB The Show 17. So the game's a year behind, but you can just update the roster. So I just kind of been messing around on that for a little bit.
Been in baseball mood.
Yeah, I've been in anticipation of baseball season. And then last night I got the digital version of Pokemon Silver, so I've been playing that for about a day.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how far are you in Silver?
1 gym badge down. Six
to go?
No, well, it's Silver, so it's actually 14 more to go, because you go back to the Kanto region.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm. So have I.
In chronological order, starting with Iron Man, and I just finished Iron Man 3, so I've watched 7 out of, what do they have, like 18 or something like that? It's a heinous amount.
Out of how many Marvel movies? There's like 20-something.
Yeah, so I'm about a third of the way through the Marvel movies in anticipation of Infinity War.
The hype trains are rolling, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I don't think I've been this excited for a movie since episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's pretty impressive how excited they're getting us with the marketing ploys. And then reading just weekly trips to the comic store and A Tale of Two Cities by Sir Charles Dickens.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, if you've ever wanted to feel like a dummy, read Charles Dickens, because oh my god.
Or the Silmarillion.
Such flowering language is going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's been my March in terms of consumption of stuff, and then work.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, so for me, the last time we talked, when I was in Cleveland hanging out with you, the last time we did the Hangover show, which again I apologize.
Hangover 4.
Yeah, Hangover Part 4. I apologize for my lack of ability on that show, because I was certainly having a rough morning, but pushed on through anyway. Around that time, I've been still playing Overwatch. Every now and then, I've been booting it up recently, trying the new characters. Brigitte has just been released, and she's awesome. If you had any care at all, she's great. She's a support healer with a mace that flings forward and a shield that can bash motherfuckers. It's good. But right before my trip to Colorado, I was looking for a Switch game, and because I've beaten Mario Odyssey, I've beaten Zelda. Those are like the 2 games that I really care about on the platform. So I was looking for something else that I could play with me on the plane, and we had downtime in the Airbnb or whatever. And so I picked up a little game called Celeste.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Celeste?
Heard about it.
Okay. So it's a 16-bit-ish side-scrolling parallax platformer puzzle game by Matt Makes Games, who famously came out with Towerfall Ascension on the PS4, and I believe it's on the Xbox. and I don't know if it's on Switch yet, but Towerfall is like one of my favorite co-op games of all time. Fun arena shooter where you have little bows and arrows and there's like a jump and dash mechanic. Celeste is that, but with a whole full fleshed out single player storyline. There's no multiplayer in Celeste as far as I can tell, but basically you're this girl and you're trying to climb this mountain, and the story develops from there.
Climb every mountain.
But it's $20 right now, I think, for the game, and when I finished it, my playtime clocked in at about 10 hours. So, and there's still more that I haven't done. Every level has its own half level, which is a harder version of the level where there's different puzzles and harder jumps to make, and a little bit faster pace, more enemies, blah 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 blah. And let me tell you what, man, I love this game.
Good.
I think it's fantastic. The music is great. The visuals are unbelievable. I mean, it's some gorgeous pixel art. Really fun and challenging. I never really felt frustrated by the game, but there were some moments where I had to pause it and set the Switch down and be like, I can't deal with this right now. I got to come back in a little bit. It's got a really
5 minutes later.
Yeah, it's got a really awesome mechanic where as soon as you die, it just immediately starts you back over so it's by frame. So it's like if you lose a frame, you don't get sent back to the very beginning of the level. There's none of that BS. You keep doing that frame until you pass it. And they even say, there's like on the loading screen, they say it multiple times and say, don't be ashamed of dying. It's like, you know that you're getting better at the game. And it's really, really well thought out. And the most important thing that I don't think enough reviewers are really harping on is the story. There is an awesome story in the game, and there's characters that actually have they don't have dialogue. They all speak in Animal Crossing language, so it's like and
it's like the parents from Charlie Brown,
basically, yeah. But it's a really great story about like hardship and dealing with stress and anxiety.
Sounds
and
like The Last Jedi.
It's very it's The Last Jedi video games, that's for sure. But I really suggest anyone pick this up if they're looking for a nice, just like a small game to pick up and play. It's really, really fun. I can see myself coming back to it for the harder levels. And it's a collect-a-thon, too. There's little strawberries in each level that you have to pick up and get, and some of them are in places where it's like, how in the goddamn hell am I going to jump up and get that strawberry?
Yeah.
It's really, really great, really rewarding.
Cool. All right. Well, if you guys are interested in that kind of game, go check it out. You heard it here from
for sure
Master Rotello.
Oh, I'm the master.
Master of the fine arts.
I've been rewatching Marvel. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we bring up some Marvel news. But Legion. Started rewatching Legion. I'm on part 7 of season 1. Enjoying it more than I did the first time, and I think I'm enjoying it more because I sat down and watched all six chapters in one day. I had a lazy day. Just pounded through it.
Yeah.
Watched 6 chapters in one sitting while I was playing some Overwatch, and I gotta say, I didn't expect it to get so horror-y. There's some...
He's a pretty messed up character.
Yeah, he's a messed up character, but the world around it is very... it's the atmosphere that they're able to create is very spooky, and I wasn't expecting it to be that necessarily... to lean that heavily into horror. I thought it was going to go way more sci-fi, but it's basically a horror show.
Okay.
And I really enjoy that.
Good.
I think that...
It's like Stranger Things horror?
Scarier.
Oh.
I mean, Stranger Things is like cheesy 70s horror, It's like 80s horror.
Yeah.
Cheesy 80s horror where it's like
Gremlins and shit.
There's a big monster, but you don't really ever see it. There, the kids are funny. I don't know. Legion actually has some stuff where it's like really kind of bizarre and messed up.
Yeah. Do they talk about like Xavier or anything like that? Like, is it connected to the Fox X-Men?
Well, so
films?
you haven't watched Legion at all?
No, I just I know about the character.
No, they haven't really dived into that though, and I'm not going to spoil anything about the show. Like certain someone spoiled something for me.
Okay,
just kidding.
Listen,
I'm sorry. So
that
I didn't know.
2 years ago.
It was so 2 years ago. Let me say this though. It's
does it ruin it if you?
It
know
has
that?
not been infecting my enjoyment knowing. However, they are building to the reveal, and I think.
Oh.
I mean, like they. I'm assuming that that's how the first season is going to end, but I don't know. They just announced the second season. It's coming out soon, and there's 17 episodes. So it's considerably longer than the first season, which I think only had 9. So I'm looking forward to watching it as it comes out because I like the characters that they have so far. Aubrey Plaza is like blowing me away.
I didn't know she was in it.
Yeah, she's great in it. She is great. She
I watched
is the highlight of the show.
Recently. I watched Ingrid Goes West. Did you ever see that?
I've been seeing ads for it, but I haven't watched it.
It's good.
Really?
It's on Amazon Prime Video right now, so you can watch it for free. But yeah, she's great in it. The lady who plays Scarlet Witch, the Olsen
Elizabeth
girl,
Olsen.
she's awesome.
Cool.
But I like the standout for me was O'Shea Jackson Jr. He's in it.
Ice Cube's
kid.
Yeah.
Dude, that actor, I've only seen him 2 movies of him. I've seen Straight Outta Compton and this one, but he's pretty great.
Cool.
He plays a landlord who is working on writing his own Batman script in Hollywood, so it's pretty funny.
Interesting.
He's like obsessed with Batman Forever and stuff. It's hilarious. But yeah, that's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's like it's a really good mental health awareness type movie. It's like so intriguing and disturbing at the same time, but also funny. So yeah, check it out. It's worth a watch, I think.
Will do.
Also, the kid, Kurt Russell's kid, is in it. You know who I'm talking about? I can't remember his first name. His last name's Russell, but he's also in the Black Mirror episode with the virtual reality horror house, and he's in 22 Jump Street. He's the football quarterback.
I haven't seen either of those.
Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. Anyway, he's a good actor.
Okay.
I'm fairly impressed with that guy. He needs to be in more stuff.
Well, I will add Ingrid Goes West to my list of movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, I saw 2.
Okay.
2 with the other movies. So I watched. I think on the last episode I watched Darkest Hour. Did we talk about that on the last episode? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been trying.
We talked about the Oscars on the last one.
So I still haven't seen many of the other Oscar movies.
Shape of Water.
Saw Shape of Water.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
And
have you seen Shape of Water?
No.
Okay. Shape of Water is a perfect movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shape of Water is, I mean, like...
deservedly of everything that it got?
I think so. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen Lady Bird, I haven't seen 3 Billboards, and I haven't seen... what's the other big one that was nominated? It was...
Get Out?
No, I've seen Get Out. I'm blanking.
The Post?
The Post. I haven't seen The Post.
Yeah, that didn't really do well, though.
No, not really.
It's like a generic Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep.
Whatever.
Acting.
Yeah. But let me just say, man, Shape of Water blew me away. It's not like one of my personal favorite movies I've ever seen. I don't even know if it cracks my top 20, top 50 even of like best movies in my eyes. But
like best or favorite?
Favorite. Let's say favorite.
I was gonna say
favorite.
There's no way.
Say
There's
favorite.
too many movies out there.
There's a lot of movies, but the whole time I'm watching Shape of Water, I'm just thinking of like, man, this is edited perfectly. This is acted perfectly. The soundtrack supplements the movie perfectly. The story is like a fairy tale, perfect. And the villain is perfect.
Michael Shannon.
Yeah, everything about it is just.
Does he say, "I will find him"?
No,
about the
he does not say that. But the entire time I'm watching this movie, I'm just thinking, man, this is. If anybody questioned if movie, I know they don't, but if anybody were to question movies as art, I would show them Shape of Water and be like, this is art. Mm-hmm. This is where we are with cinema. This is what we can accomplish.
You know what I'd show?
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This is art. Settle down, Martha.
Nice, dude. Well, I'm glad you saw it. I've yet to see it.
Add it to your list. Go check it out. It's really I'd say it's like one of the must watches of the last 5 years.
Cool.
And then I also saw Isle of Dogs, which is, as of right now, my favorite movie of 2018.
Okay.
So Shape of Water came out 2017. Isle of Dogs, favorite movie of 2018.
2018, the only movies you've seen have been Black Panther and Isle of Dogs, right?
Black Panther, Isle of Dogs, Annihilation.
You saw Annihilation?
Yeah. And I think that's all I've seen in the theater since
I've only seen Black Panther.
Okay. But so
cool.
Isle of Dogs is great. If you like Wes Anderson, you're in for a treat. I personally liked it better than Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I think a lot of people didn't, but I personally enjoyed Isle of Dogs. I think it's got a better story.
Cool.
And Bryan Cranston, amazing.
He's
the lead, yeah.
Nice. I like Bryan Cranston.
All right, well, are you ready to jump into the news with me?
Let's get it.
That was the new jingle, Photoshop. So let's start it off with some superhero movies.
Okay.
Just like we do every week.
Yep.
Basically. Just because,
Every day, every week, every week, every month.
I wake up in the morning.
Superhero.
Looking at superheroes. The biggest piece of news about the superhero movie jump. Biggest pizza news is that Black Panther, according to... I'm going to start that whole sentence over. According to Box Office Mojo, Black Panther is officially now the #1 highest grossing superhero movie of all time. So, round of applause there for Ryan Coogler. And
so it surpassed the Avengers.
The Avengers.
The current.
The lifetime gross of theaters for Avengers was $623 million.
Domestic.
And
right?
I don't know. It says lifetime gross theaters. I don't know if that means domestic or global.
It's got to be domestic because it made like billions of dollars.
Well,
I'm confused by that metric. Anyway,
yeah,
keep going. Yeah.
But Black Panther, anyway, it did $673 million. So about 16 million more so far, and it's still rolling.
You know what? That movie's going to be in theaters
for a while.
Potentially, it'll still be in theaters when Infinity War comes out.
Yeah. What's interesting to me...
because I need to see it again in my rewatch.
What's interesting to me, the statistic that I didn't know about this, is that Black Panther was on less theater screens than Avengers. And Dark Knight, and Age of Ultron, and Dark Knight Rises, and Wonder Woman, and Iron Man 3. Basically all of these, like in the top 10, Black Panther has the least amount of theaters listed there. It has 4,084, while others are listed in the 4,300s and above.
I think you could possibly, a reasoning behind that could be just like the lack of theater screens now, because theaters are shrinking.
Yeah.
Both with the type of seating that they have and stuff like that. So that could have something to do with it. But that is a shocking metric.
It is interesting, but...
yeah.
Either way, congrats to Black Panther.
Yeah. Wakanda forever.
From Marvel.com, news.marvel.com, they have some news about Captain Marvel. Principal photography has begun, and the movie has an official March 8th, 2019 release date for Captain Marvel.
Who's directing that?
Carol Danvers soars on the big screen with her own solo adventure, Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel.
You didn't answer my question.
Carol Danvers.
Carol Danvers is the character.
Oh, that's
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Who is the director? Who is the director? Let's look at the director. I didn't know that was her name.
Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. Yep. Hello, my baby. Hello, my
hello, my ragtime girl. Send me a kiss by wire. Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck.
Oh. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. But a big piece of news from this is they added some additional cast members. They also showed not a set photo, but a photo of Brie Larson in her pilot uniform doing flight training. So they're actually giving her like U.S. military flight training.
Okay, so how much do you know about Captain Marvel?
Not much at all. I can gather that she's a pilot.
She's kind of like it's kind of like the Green Lantern origin. Got it. They
also added some extra cast that, like I said, some people that we didn't know. Did you know Ben Mendelsohn's in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know Ben Mendelsohn was in this movie.
He's in like everything. he's having quite the decade, honestly.
And Jude Law. Did you know Jude Law's in Captain Marvel?
That I didn't know. Okay.
Jude Law's in Captain Marvel.
We have to talk about Fantastic Beasts on this episode too.
Okay.
By the way,
the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, we will.
Wolf.
Just remind me. Remind me in a sec.
Okay.
But then the two that are the big ones that are getting headlines are Lee Pace is in the movie, and so is Clark Gregg. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, Clark Gregg famous as Coulson
making his cinematic return after Avengers, unless he shows up in Infinity War, which I don't see how you don't bring him back.
Yeah, I think he shows up in both. He'll be.
If there's 64 characters on that screen and one of them isn't Phil Coulson, I'm walking out.
And then Lee Pace, famously as Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Give that guy some more.
Oh, yeah. I love Lee Pace, man. Lee Pace is awesome.
I like the character a lot, too.
Yeah.
And I think that, we were talking a little bit off air before this. I think some of the problems that the earlier Marvel movies have is that they're one and dones with their villains. So I think having this be a flashback type movie, a movie that takes place almost a prequel, if you will.
Yeah.
You can go back and revisit some of those villains that maybe, should have had more screen time.
Sure.
With Ronan being a good front runner. Potentially people like Red Skull, the Mandarin, stuff like that.
I'd love to see Red Skull come back.
Go back and do stuff again. Or even the 10 Rings from Iron Man, Sure. Maybe not in Captain Marvel, but something else in the future.
So the inclusion of Lee Pace is bringing up a lot of questions from people about his necessarily fitting into Captain Marvel, because he's not really a villain that Captain Marvel deals with.
I have an idea as to why. A large comic storyline from the Marvel Universe is the Kree-Skrull War, and they had already announced that the Skrulls are going to be in it, which are like those green alien-looking dudes. And then Ronan's obviously a member of the Kree Empire.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling more of like she's going to get thrust into a cosmic war between the Kree and the Skrull, and that's the role that he's going to be in. So he might not be the main villain.
I don't think he's the main villain.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of people seem to think that Lee Pace is going to be in it because you need some connection to Thanos on Earth. Okay. So, because if my theory is correct, and I've read a number of fan theories on Reddit that people seem to have this same sort of line of thinking. If my theory is correct, that Infinity War ends with someone, or maybe some people, or maybe a couple people, or whatever, are sent back in time to the 90s with the Time Stone to fix what's happening, and that is the plot of Captain Marvel, which I think that it is. I'm like 95% sure that the reason why we're not going to get a Captain Marvel trailer is because a big part of that movie is going to be she's going to be hanging out with Peter Parker or someone. And if that is the case, I think that Lee Pace is the connection there, because you need someone for Captain Marvel to be in kind of like conflict with, but not necessarily be conflict with the main antagonist, which is Thanos. And then I think that that's going to set her up to be bringing her into the present in Infinity War Part 2, where she then fights Thanos.
Yeah, so maybe the Ben Mendelsohn role is like the Skrull leader, and then you have Ronan the Accuser. Here's an interesting thought. I like your idea better of having Peter Parker be the person that travels back in time, but I'd be worried that having him in Captain Marvel could potentially take away from her first go out as a solo film. What if it's Nick Fury, because they've already announced that he's going to be in it? So like his conscious is traveled back in time. Because they've already announced that he's going to have both eyes and he's going to be there and stuff like that. So maybe he's the guy that gets.
I can see that, but I think the whole purpose of I think why sending Peter
Parker is the smarter decision. Don't get me wrong.
Sure,
yeah.
I think
he's your new catalyst for going forward.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it would be a smart idea to send him back, is because you need that fish out of water sort of dynamic. And I don't think that he shows up at the beginning of Captain Marvel. I think it's like I said, like the last shot of Infinity War. I bet you any sort of money is the last shot of Infinity War is like Peter Parker in the 90s, like hearing about Captain Marvel.
So then we see kind of like how you see the photo for Wonder Woman.
Sure.
In BVS.
So you're going to get Captain Marvel's introduction, maybe some of her childhood, what she goes through, how she becomes the hero.
Peter Parker shows up,
and then he shows up in the last like whatever when he's fighting Ronan.
Okay. I love it.
And then it's like a Civil War sort of thing where it's just like Paul Rudd shows up in Civil War. It's like you're not expecting it, but then there he is. He rolls out of a van.
Paul Rudd kind of shows up in the Ant-Man movies too.
So I still stand by that. That's my theory, and I think that Lee Pace being listed as casting is
it's cool,
is awesome, and I think that's if they lean into that. That I think is the perfect way of solving this.
I'm in, dude. Back to the Future with Peter Parker. Give it to me.
My only worry is that I'm hyping this up too much.
I think I think you have a smart plan. I mean, they haven't done a full movie before that takes place in another timeline.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And if they don't, I want to be honest, I'll be a little disappointed because I like your MCU better if they don't do that.
I think, you have to think about what's the smart... And I think that this is probably the first conversation they had when they were sitting down to write the Infinity War script. When the Russo brothers got together, I think their first big question was, how do we pay homage to Marvel, to MCU as a whole, and how do we gracefully let the people that a lot of people care about
die,
leave? Yeah. I think that was the biggest question, and I think that the way to do that is either to reverse time and reboot it, which I think is lazy. Just completely reboot it, like just have it be like Iron Man never existed.
Which is what is going to happen when they do Flashpoint. He's going to go back in time, and then everyone's going to be gone besides Gal Gadot. Anyway.
But yeah, so we'll see. I just hope that I'm not like... I did the same thing with Winter Soldier, where it's like I had it dead set in my mind that Robert Redford was going to be revealed as Red Skull.
Yeah.
And then when it didn't happen, I was kind of let down. But that didn't affect my enjoyment of the whole movie. So I hope that it doesn't do that for this one.
I have a confession to make. I was really gung-ho about killing off Captain America in Civil War. But I'm glad that he's going to be in the Avengers for the one.
Get this man a shield.
Yeah, for one last go out. Kevin Smith talked about something really interesting that kind of resonated with me as well, based on listening to it. Is he's like, I was rewatching the first Avengers, and there's this part where Stanley Tucci's character is like, "Do you want to kill Nazis?" And he's like, "I don't want to kill anybody." He's like, I don't like bullies.
Yeah.
And then flash forward to that image of him stopping the Infinity Gauntlet with his hands. Yeah. And you're like, that's the biggest, baddest bully there is.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. And it's like, yeah, I think that for him to go out in this grand scale Avengers movie, if he does, because we all know that his contract's up, and he said that after Avengers 4 that he's done, that we know of, I think that that's a better way for him to go out than the Civil War. So I retract my statement. I apologize to Chris Evans and the Captain America fans out there.
Yeah.
But
that scene in First Avenger, man, that's like a perfect. That's just a great moment.
That
brings me to tears every time.
Everything leading up to when he's selling bonds. Not that I don't like what comes after that, but I think that first half.
That's the first half of the first half of the movie is great. They just struggle with action in the second half. Like they struggle with making an actual climax in that movie.
Yes,
the actual climax is really disappointing.
Yeah.
But then you get such a satisfying ending.
Yeah, but like him interacting with Bucky at the beginning and getting his ass kicked in the alleyway.
Yep, that's a great scene.
The part where he pulls the pin out of the flagpole and gets the flag. I love when he jumps on the grenade.
Everything at
they established the character really well. Mm-hmm. Potentially almost as good as they established Tony Stark in the first half hour to an hour in the first Iron Man.
I think better. Because you get to see him have like an actual arc. Like Tony goes through a kind of an arc, but
the problem is they're two very opposite characters, and that's why they butt heads so well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, after rewatching it, I think we couldn't be any more excited for Infinity War.
For sure.
Yeah. Kudos to them, man. They put in a lot of hard work, and yes, we've paid them a shit ton of money to do it, but at least they're doing it right.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, and look forward to the future. At some point here, hopefully before Infinity War, or at least soon during Infinity War, we're going to do our review of the movie, and we'll do our rankings of after Infinity War, where it sits on the timeline, where we like it, what we have predictions for, and so we're going to be jazzed about that, so look forward to that.
Yeah, leading up to it, hopefully we will have rewatched most, if not all, of the Marvel movies leading up to it, and we can give you a pre-ranking rehash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even a timeline run through.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Infinity War review episode is like a two-parter.
Yeah.
So
sounds fun.
All right, so we got some new release dates, John.
Yeah.
For X-Men Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, they've both gotten delayed. Dark Phoenix moves from November 2nd, 2018 to February 14th, 2019. And then
Valentine's Day, the Phoenix.
And then the New Mutants moved from February 22nd, 2019 to August 2nd, 2019. So they both got delayed a pretty significant amount of time. Any thoughts on that? Or
I mean, it makes sense. I think because of the Fox deal, maybe some stuff got shuffled around, so that could be a reasoning. They're also just big projects, and stuff originally got moved around without us knowing. But now, in the light of the digital age, we are aware of things more often. I want both of them to be good, especially Phoenix after the abysmal event that was Apocalypse, but
they need a recovery, man.
I mean,
like Logan was a recovery, but that wasn't really an X-Men movie, so
no. I don't know. I'm just really worried. I like Jessica Chastain quite a bit. I think she's a really good actor.
Yeah, I agree.
And her being potentially Lalandra or whatever role she's going to play in this movie could be really cool.
Yeah.
But I still think it's not the right time to do that story because we only had one movie with this Cyclops and Jean, and that is a very pivotal relationship that needs to be established before you do a Dark Phoenix, which they did kind of in the first go around, but then they botched it in their execution of it. So I just think it's too soon. And like, I get it. They want to keep throwing McAvoy and Fassbender out there while they're still willing to do it. And unfortunately, Jennifer Lawrence, who needs to cash a check apparently. But yeah, I don't know. In light of the Disney acquisition, I kind of just like wish everything that isn't Deadpool and X-Force is kind of thrown to the wayside.
I think both of these movies are going to be pretty bad. I'm just going to say it like right out the gate. I think that they're both going to be like pretty much like maybe a little bit better than Apocalypse. Maybe. I think Phoenix will be fair to poor, and I think New Mutants will be. I don't think it's going to be good. No.
I really don't. Which is unfortunate because that first trailer got me kind of psyched for a horror type movie, but then they changed all that. So, yeah.
But I think they'll both be bad, but I think they'll be looked at through the lens of everybody saying like, well, they were rushed and stressed because of the acquisition deal. So I think they'll get a little bit of grace because of that. Okay. Not a pass. They'll get a little bit of grace.
Okay.
Because, I think that it's just further proof that they didn't really know what was happening with the Disney deal. And obviously the cast and crew were like, well, we have this script. We've already paid for a lot of the production costs. We have to make this movie. We can't just stop because then we're in the hole 40, 50 million. So let's just make the movie. And I think that had the Fox deal been a little bit earlier, both of these would have been scrapped.
Yeah.
And then they would have just like saved the cost of the production of the films because it's expensive. And these movies probably aren't going to make their money back.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they're going to make their money, especially Dark Phoenix, because that movie's going to cost like what?
$300 million.
It's not going to be that expensive, but like
it'd be close to $200 million.
Yeah, something like that. Something like $200 million is probably accurate.
They said they're going cosmic with it, so it's going to have an expensive CG budget.
Oh yeah. We'll see how it fares.
They're going to have to ride on the Deadpool 2 train and hope that that's successful, which I don't see how it wouldn't be. What did you think of the official trailer for that?
This is the one with like where they talk about the kid and
the sisterhood of the traveling
parents. It was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't like blown away by it. I thought the trailer with him playing with the dollhouse is way better.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Sheriff Deadpool. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of like not thinking about Deadpool because I kind of I was surprised by Deadpool 1. I didn't expect it to be great, and it ended up being really, really great.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the second one blows me away too. But
I do like the part where they're talking about like stopping after 2. It's like, you do 2, you done it right.
Yeah.
3 is crazy because all of Fox third installments of their franchises have been bad.
Oh yeah.
So, with the exception of Logan, technically, but yeah,
that is a third iteration. That's true. That's interesting. I never thought about that. But, all right, so moving on.
Very rarely is the third installment the best. I think Logan, Thor Ragnarok, Revenge of the Sith.
You could make a case for Captain America, for Civil War being the
I
best
think Winter
of the 3.
Soldier's the best.
I think Winter Soldier's the best of the 3 too, but yeah. Avengers. There's about to be 3 of them.
There's gonna be 4 though.
That's true. That's true.
Like if you're looking at trilogies, maybe Planet of the Apes.
Oh, I love Planet of the Apes. I still think the second one's my favorite.
Yeah, again,
exactly.
We're picking and choosing here, but
from Variety, Narcos star Pedro Pascal lands key role in Wonder Woman sequel. This is an exclusive.
This is good.
Director Patty Jenkins is bringing on Pedro Pascal for a key role in her Wonder Woman sequel starring Gal Gadot. The Narcos star is on board for the follow-up, joining Kristen Wiig, who is tapped for the villain role of Cheetah. The film would mark the second time Pascal and Jenkins have worked together, having previously teamed up on the TV movie Exposed. Have you seen Exposed?
I think no.
Okay, I have not even heard of it, really.
Yeah.
There's no word as to who Pascal will be. Do you have any guesses, our DC expert, John?
I really do not. I don't. My hope to God would be that he is the Martian Manhunter.
Oh.
And that's his human form alter ego of John Jones. Because I think that'd
I
be
hope to God.
that would be so dank if they're like John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, has been living amongst us in Earth since the Cold War, even before that.
Sure.
But he just hasn't resurfaced until they bring him into a present day role later on. I think that would be dope if he was in it, and that's like a secret that Diana has been keeping all through everything. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know. He could be playing one of the gods or something like that. That's a fair thing.
Yeah.
I am a little bummed. They said that it's taking place in the 80s, around that part of the Cold War. I think you're making a mistake because the more intenser parts of the Cold War in the 50s and 60s, I think that would have been a better period piece to do. Because the 80s is like the latter part of it with like Reagan and Gorbachev and stuff like that. Anyway, that's me picking and choosing. But yeah, I don't really know. My dream cast would be that he's playing John Jones.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's in the DCEU, but I like that.
Yeah. Well, Wonder Woman is kind of the outlier here.
But they can say that all they want.
But it's not.
But it's not.
I know.
It's not.
Yeah,
they can say that all they want, but at the end of the day,
hopefully they listen to our show and this guy is... Because then you get... Because he's Hispanic, correct?
Pedro Pascal?
Yes.
I'm assuming he's Hispanic.
I haven't watched Narcos in a while, but I think that to have a main character be played by a Hispanic is one of the superhero castings that we're missing now. I mean, you have like supporting characters, but like a good one that could potentially lead a solo franchise would be really cool. And I think John Jones is a great way to go about that,
Interesting. All right, well,
hopefully whoever's in charge of DC, it seems they rotate every week, but hopefully they're listening to our show.
They just have a bunch of names on a dartboard, and they're like, well, shit, we lost this one. Like, oh no, Zack Snyder again.
Hey guys, I'm still outside.
Aquaman director James Wan has revealed why we haven't seen a trailer yet. Did you read this?
I did not.
Okay, so...
I did not.
Aquaman, Warner Brothers and DC's follow-up film to Justice League, doesn't hit theaters until December 21st. But that hasn't stopped fans from demanding to see the first footage of the movie via a debut trailer.
Merry Christmas, right, Aquaman?
Some assumed it would be attached to Warner Brothers' late... Wonder Bros. Some assumed it would be attached to Ready Player One, but the film's director James Wan has taken to Twitter to reveal that's not the case. Fans will have to continue waiting for the first Aquaman trailer, and Wan explains why. First off, before I read this, do you have a theory about what do you think he's about to say?
You want to know what I think?
Let's play a game of what's Wan walking. What's he talking about?
I think if you're the Warner Brothers marketing team, that shit is gonna get buried by Avengers, Deadpool, and Solo. So I say you drop that trailer in the middle of the summer.
June.
After those movies come out.
June or July, yeah.
When you're going up against like Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my
I bet
theory.
they wait for some shit.
What did he say?
What he says, hey friends, I usually do my best to avoid internet noises, especially fabricated distractions, but a teaser trailer going out this weekend was never in the books. Despite what some claim, it's not because of anyone or any nefarious reason holding it back, it's me. I'm simply not ready to share. The movie is filled to the gills with VFX, and the process is as slow and laborious as a sea slug. Yeah. Yes, even shots for the trailers take forever to do, and I refuse to put out anything that might be construed as subpar. I know it seems like nothing much is brewing above the surface, but I can assure you we're working nonstop under the waves. It keeps going. Nonstop under the waves. And yes, I plan to use oceanic puns references every chance I get.
Does this mean that the script has a lot of ocean puns?
I bet you it does.
God damn it.
I know. This movie's going to suck. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad.
I have higher hopes than you do.
I think it's going to be terrible.
I think James Wan needs to get a little more credit. But we'll see. I told you that I would enjoy the movie as long as Black Manta is Black Manta in it. So as long as he's there, you can chalk that up as a W in my book. That's a character that shouldn't work on a movie screen. So if he works in any way, shape, or form, I'm happy, honestly. Like
I really hope that
that's a goofy looking guy.
Yeah. I bet you he's not going to wear that mask. I bet you he's just going to be doing a black suit and they're going to call him Black Manta.
This isn't Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. You don't have to do that stuff animour. You know what I mean?
When the VFX budget for this is all under... This is what I was telling you about. Remember
they're talking bubbles. All right, that makes it easier.
You can animate the water.
Yeah.
And if Mara is a character, unless they change her outfit, from the neck down, she's all CG.
In the Snyder version, you can
Sure.
change that.
You could.
Yeah.
I remember we had an episode of the show like a few months ago, I think around the time of Justice League's release, where I was saying that Aquaman's going to be kind of a disaster because it's like, if you're doing it about Atlantis, and if you're doing it mostly underwater, that's going to be an expensive movie. And I kind of believe him when he's saying like the VFX just isn't ready. Like there's a ton of it to do. I bet.
No, you just got to cast a bunch of mofos that can hold their breath really long. You take a GoPro down there.
They just have like a list. It's like days without people drowning. It's like erase it, zero.
Yeah, we'll see. I think if it works, I think it'll be it's going to be a breakthrough, you know? But if it doesn't, it's just going to be a CGI shitfest that was Justice League, you know?
It's going
because that portion in Atlantis in Justice League is not good.
It's really bad.
It is not good.
No,
to say the least. Really yeah, but there have been like those production stills of Mara, and I thought she was wearing like a real costume. And then we saw Justice League, and it was like, but to be fair, in Justice League, everything was CGI, so except Alfred. Even Superman's suit had like parts of it that were CG. Mm-hmm. Did you know that the capes are fake?
Yep.
Come on, man.
Like, I mean, it's kind of cool because, like, at least because I heard about that from Man of Steel, like back in the day, and that they show the VFX before and after shot of when he's floating in the air, and then they animate the cape behind him, and it looks like pretty real.
Yeah, I know it looks real, but like,
it's not a mustache.
Good point. Is Thor's cape CG'd? I feel
know.
like a couple times it is.
With that thing here.
Sorry, he doesn't really wear them that much, though.
Yeah, I don't know if the thing is that like most of the stuff in Marvel when they're walking around is like practical. It's just when they start flying.
There's not a lot of
Marvel
characters. Like, I mean, the Doctor Strange cape CG, obviously, but there's not a lot of characters in Marvel that have capes. Coffee pot. Yeah, he's like, I'm done. I'm out.
It's our cue to move on to the next story, which is that FX has pulled the plug on Marvel's Deadpool animated TV series from Donald Glover. Says,
and
quote,
he is not happy.
Due to creative differences, FX, Donald Glover, Steven Glover, and Marvel Television have agreed to part ways on Marvel's Deadpool animated series. The network said in a statement Saturday, quote, FX will no longer be involved with the project. FX and Marvel have an ongoing relationship through our partnership on Legion, which will continue. End quote. Apparently, it's like just straight up creative differences. Sources say that Marvel didn't agree with Glover's vision for the show based on scripts written by Glover. FX supported the brothers who have overall deals at FX Productions. So FX, with Donald and Steven Glover, pulled out from the project. It was set to be produced by Marvel in an association with FX Productions and ABC Signature. It is unclear whether Marvel TV and ABC will continue to pursue the project. The rights to the Deadpool character are owned by Fox. The Deadpool live-action movie starring Ryan Reynolds became one of Fox's highest-grossing... That can't be true, right? It's owned... So they've acquired Fox. So the rights for Deadpool now lie within Disney, right?
I think after a certain year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because like all the box office that they get for Deadpool 2 this summer is still going to Fox.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Still backing that truck up to Mickey Mouse's house.
Ha-ha!
Yeah. I shower in money.
Give me that quiche. Which is kind of a bummer, because that's a cool idea.
Is Donald Glover's brother named Adultish Gambino? Boom. Moving on.
From Collider.com. Everyone's favorite director, Colin Trevorrow, is returning to direct Jurassic World 3. Jurassic World 3 now as a director, and it's not exactly a huge surprise. While Jurassic Park reboot was in the work for years, it finally came to fruition with 2015's Jurassic World to a box office record-smashing results. Colin Trevorrow was handpicked to breathe new life, blah, 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 blah. This is just sucking his dick. Where is the news? They're burying the lead.
Y'all know he got fired from episode 9, right? Yeah. That guy's can't be that good of a filmmaker.
All right, well, I don't know. This story is written terribly. But anyway, Colin Trevorrow's back for Jurassic World 3. Do you care?
I don't even care about Jurassic World 2.
Nope.
So
that trailer is terrible. That's a terrible trailer.
Goldblum's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's like his editing is messed up and his VFX don't. His voice lines
finds a way.
Life finds a way.
He doesn't say That's the problem. Life finds a way.
My favorite line from Thor Ragnarok is like, on any other planet, I'd be like 3,000 years old, but here... And he just stops talking. It's the best.
My favorite
his
is...
eyes are just... Oh, it's so good.
I like when he's like, you're dismissed from life. like melts that guy.
Oh my god! The smell, it's unbearable.
The Grandmaster's great. Have you watched the Team Daryl stuff with the Grandmaster that's on the Thor Blu-ray?
No, I don't
know how
have
they
the Thor
did that.
Blu-ray.
You know how they did that Team Thor stuff leading up to Ragnarok, where like Civil War is going on, and it's like Thor.
Oh yeah,
in like board shorts.
Yeah.
So they have a thing where like the Grandmaster becomes Daryl's new roommate after Thor. It's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, because it's just Goldblum being himself.
Oh, I love Goldblum.
Me too.
Keeping on with the movie news here, we got one more new movie news story. Ready Player One.
You want to do Fantastic Beasts?
Okay.
Ready Player One.
So yeah, Ready Player One won't take long, but it's sitting at a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, certified fresh.
Heard it's very fun.
Audience scores at an 80%.
Yeah.
Average review is a 7 out of 10. Fresh 181 reviews. Rotten 53. Reddit seemed to really enjoy it. I was looking through the Reddit discussion for the movie, the official discussion, and a lot of people are giving it pretty high praise, more so than I would have expected.
It's got the DeLorean and the Iron Giant in it. You know, I've heard it's an Easter egg palooza. So yeah, I've just heard it's like a fun romp.
Yeah, I'm interested. Definitely more peaked than before because people were being so hard on this movie. I was expecting it to be
middle of the road Spielberg movie,
sure,
from what I've heard.
Which,
you know, it's no Jaws or Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's comparable to some other quality stuff that he puts out.
The interesting thing that I've heard, and like the biggest criticism, is that the writing is bad, which is like, that's really kind of interesting that Spielberg would allow like a poorly written movie to be like directed by him. You know,
King with the Crystal Skull,
not a badly written movie.
BFG, big
okay.
giant.
So, are you going to go see Ready Player One in the theater?
If I have time. I'm not like. There's really nothing until the Avengers that I'm like rushing out to see, because like I would see Tomb Raider if I felt like a need to go see it, but some of the stuff it just might have to wait.
Yeah.
I would like to see it in the theater though. I'm sure it's one that's like very enjoyable on a grand scale, like Dunkirk. Like I don't think I would have enjoyed Dunkirk on home video, but seeing it in theaters is worth the time.
Yeah. Okay, and then you news me up on Fantastic Beasts here, buddy. You take control.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
First impressions.
It looks pretty bad.
Dude, they tricked us. They sold us on a prequel series. They're like, don't tell everybody it's a prequel because The Hobbit and the Star Wars movies weren't received as well, but it's a prequel to Harry Potter. Boom. Dumbledore's here. So I think Grindelwald still looks horrible.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know why they make him look the way he is. The plot seems to be... I don't know. I couldn't quite... Why can't Dumbledore fight Grindelwald himself? He has to keep Newt Scamander, who is supposed to be our Harry Potter, but isn't.
And they already revealed
he's like a poor man's protagonist.
They already revealed that Dumbledore uses his magic and fights in the movie. They already revealed that his friend is back from his memory loss. It just looks like a cluster of nothing that I really care about, except
the part where they're at Hogwarts. I was in for that. Yeah. That was cool
for sure. And then the other thing is that I am really confident that what's the actor's name that's playing Gandalf?
Jude Law. He'll be the best part of the movie.
He'll be the best part of the movie, and I really hope.
The problem is that they're trying to force feed us everyone else.
Yeah, I don't understand whose idea it was to make Newt Scamander the main character of these movies, you know.
Well, and they're bringing back a new Lestrange, played by is it Zoe Kravitz? It's Kravitz's kid or sister or whatever. Whoever was the bug lady in First Class, the stripper.
Gotcha.
She's going to be the Lestrange. You got everyone coming back from the first one, sans Colin Farrell, which is a huge mistake because he was my favorite part of the first Fantastic Beasts. Like you said, Kowalski has his memory back. Like,
it's a bad trailer.
I don't know if Johnny Depp is a good choice for Grindelwald. I think Colin Farrell would have been better as just Grindelwald the whole time.
Yeah, I think they were just banking on people going like, "Oh my god, I know who that is,"
and then he turned out to be a wife beater. So.
Well, allegedly.
Okay, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not excited.
Yeah, me either.
But there were parts of it where I was watching and I was like, that's really cool. But it's because they're playing into my nostalgia factor, which is what the Hobbit movies and the prequels do, which is like, yeah, Dumbledore's a teacher and he's hanging out in that Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom that you like so much. And you're like, oh, yeah, I do like that so much. But then, it's just like, just go watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because I'm really worried about these movies and they're apparently making a bunch of them. And for some reason, they are just putting all their eggs in one basket on continuing to call it Fantastic Beasts, and it's not about the beasts.
Maybe
it's
the
about
worst
the beasts within.
Maybe the worst title for a blockbuster ever. I think.
Like overarching title.
Yeah. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. That's the worst title for a blockbuster movie, like a big main event movie.
Since Cowboys and Aliens.
I like Fantastic Beasts worse than that.
I like Cowboys and Aliens more. Yeah, for sure. Jon Favreau. Give him all the credit he needs.
Yeah, Favreau's a G. All right, so we got to move on here. We got 3 more stories left, so strap on your friggin' belts here, boyzos. Rick and Morty Season 4 is being held up by contract negotiations.
No!
So this has been updated, and it will continue to be updated. But if you don't follow Dan Harmon on Twitter, I suggest it out there if you guys want to go follow him. He's generally a really positive guy on Twitter, and I really appreciate that. He's also really funny. I mean, no surprise, he's a funny guy just in general, and he has thoughts about the Rick and Morty fan base, or at least the ones that are vocal online. And the story reads as follows: that series co-creators Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon say that Rick and Morty Season 4 holdup is due to complicated contract negotiations. Roiland has given his piece on Twitter, and Harmon spoke about it while guesting on Kevin Smith's Smodcast. Dan Harmon has spilled the sauce.
I did listen to this.
Yeah, delays are par the course for Rick and Morty fans. Fans were treated to an excruciating 2-year wait between seasons 2 and 3, and it looks like they'll have to wait even longer for season 4 after Ryan Ridley suggested the series wouldn't return until 2019 or even 2020. However, co-creator and writer Dan Harmon has confirmed that Adult Swim and Cartoon Network's adult-oriented programming block has yet to renew Rick and Morty for its 4th season. In a discussion with a rude Rick and Morty fan who lashed out against Harmon for delaying the 4th season, Harmon suggested the series hasn't been picked up yet. He says, "I hear you, tough spot. On one hand, it can be challenging, especially when crippling lazy alcoholism, to write a show that hasn't been ordered by a network. On the other hand, the thought that fans like you pay the price, I'm going to grab a drink." So it's kind of like a back and forth. It's like it's possible that they're just in these contract negotiations, or it's possible that they're not really seeing the return on investment on this show, and that they haven't really, because he says in his tweet, and I believe him, I don't think he's lying, that he hasn't written anything for season 4 yet.
I believe it.
If that's the case, we're going to be waiting a long time for season 4. I mean, maybe more than 2 years.
Think about what a phenomenon Rick and Morty is, and it's still a cartoon on Adult Swim. You know what I mean? The fact that everyone, it's hard to find someone who hasn't watched it or doesn't like it. I can see from the return on investment thing. I think they're trying to get more. They should be trying to get more money from Adult Swim.
I think that
for the order, they could be trying to order more than 10 episodes too.
That's true.
Something like that.
That's a good point. Is that maybe Adult Swim is asking too much and they don't want to deliver that?
Yeah.
But the thing is, to me, it blows my mind that they because Dan Harmon and the other guy's
Justin
Roiland. They might just be very specific on how they like to write their shows and how they like to come up with their comedy and their story, but it blows my mind that Adult Swim doesn't realize the lightning in a bottle that they have. And if you so many things right now are become products of their oversaturation. It's like DC. They're just throw as much money at these people as possible to make as many of these as fast as we possibly can. It's I'm surprised that they don't offer them more money to make more of the show and just say we know that you guys want to do 10 episodes and then wait a couple years, but we really like the show. People have a good response to it. We want to make season 4 a 20 episode arc.
Yeah.
will you take 10 million each? Like, it just blows my mind that there's not Rick and Morty coming out every year, multiple times. Like, it's like,
I do
it's
think
just crazy.
that it's also a creative thing. I
Yeah.
think that those guys are really funny and nice, and they come up with good stuff. But I think there could be some personal stuff that keeps them from being able to be as productive as people want.
Sure.
I think also a show of that genius takes a while to write. I really do. And I'd rather them have quality over and over again than a pumped out every year, watered down version of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I agree. I like that there's a little bit of a gap, but 2.5 or 3 years is too long.
Yeah.
Like, it should be a recurring season until they stop. Like, it should be every year at a set time frame. Because that's how you get people excited for a show. Yeah. That's how it works. I mean, like, that's why Stranger Things works, is because a year is just about enough time where I'm like, oh, I'm ready for some more Stranger Things. Or it's like
Game of Thrones suffers from the same thing.
Game of Thrones definitely suffers from, and Game of Thrones is even worse in my book because you forget stuff. It's too big. It's like so dense. You know,
that's true.
But
and talking about that book, Game of Thrones, that's a whole nother can of eggs. It's 7 years since the last book came out.
Yeah. Just end it.
He's dead, dude. He's not going to finish it in his lifetime, which is sad for the people that have been invested in those novels since the 90s when the first one came out.
We'll see.
Yep.
So we got 2 video game stories, and we're going to close the news section out. As we transition into April, it's time for those freebies. And Xbox Games of Gold and PlayStation Plus games have both been announced. Have you looked at any of these?
Yeah, the PlayStation Plus ones. I think Connor shared them with us.
Cool.
They got some good lineups, right?
Yeah, so for April 2018, for Games of Gold with Xbox, you get The Witness, which is a puzzle game from the creator of Braid. Haven't played it, but it looks really fun. Really challenging is what I've heard, too. Also, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is the one set in London, is free. And Cars 2 for Xbox 360 and Dead Space 2 for Xbox 360 are free, along with Far Cry Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is a cool game. PlayStation Plus, the one we care about more. So, available the first Tuesday in April, Mad Max, which is the open world, like, beat-em-up, wasteland exploration game, is free for PS4, which I've been debating on buying for a long time because it always goes on sale for like $4.
Yeah.
But now it's free, so I have no excuse to try it now. And then Trackmania Turbo, which is a VR-compatible, like, high-speed racing game in the vein of Wipeout. Looks really fun. Looks very nauseous-inducing, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
In Space We Brawl and Toy Home for PS3, and then 99 Vitus for PS Vita. And then Qbert Rebooted comes to PS3, PS4, and PS Vita. So you get 3 PS4 games this month if you have a PlayStation 4. So yeah.
Go check them out.
Go check them out, folks.
They're free.
And that does it for the news. All my papers have been...
We do have these. Would you like to go through
I would love...
a couple of them?
Yeah, so...
While we're on the topic of video games, if you guys are GameStop users... and you have a rewards card, then you most likely get Gameinformer every month. For their 300th issue, they have released their top 300 games of all time. And why don't we go through the top 10? Because we wouldn't be a internet-based thing unless we talked about top 10s at some point. Are you ready? Okay. Number 10.
I'm ready, sorry.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Number 10, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Number 8, Red Dead Redemption. 7, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. 6, Final Fantasy 6. 5, World of Warcraft. 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. 3, Tetris 2, Super Mario Bros. 3. And number 1, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Any discrepancies there in the top 10?
No, I mean...
I have a few.
The problem is that...
you're talking about relevance, which is what...
So with this list, it's not specifically like best in terms of what you can do, what you can, the enjoyment you get out of the game, how it can play with others, the graphics, everything about it. What it really boils down to is... I'm sure that they have a list of editors in here, and they probably all got into a room, and there were probably 20 of them, maybe 30 of them, and they all voted on their favorite games or the games that they're most nostalgic for, the games they grew up with,
Most
games
relevant.
that they're still playing.
Revolutionary.
Exactly. What they have to say about pop culture and about, the world around us and what was defining for a console,
Yeah.
It's like all things considered. That's what a best list like this, that's what a best of like top 300 or whatever games list like this is. It's how does it stack up today? What does it say about the game? And do we like playing it? And it as that is a criteria, I totally agree with all of these. I mean, like, I wouldn't argue. I would
have
argue
a couple discrepancies, and they are as follows. I think they're a little too high on Modern Warfare because their point is about the campaign being a breakthrough in terms of like the first Call of Duty campaign that really resonated with people, and then the multiplayer appeal. But I think that there are better Call of Duty games, Modern Warfare 2 being the one that comes to mind, that could be higher. But other than that, I see their reasoning behind. This is the best Zelda game, arguably.
Link to the Past?
Yeah. I think it's really, really strong in terms of gameplay and revisibility. Sure. But Breath of the Wild is also a contender for some people, I know. And you also have to think about Ocarina of Time. But that one, 64, doesn't hold up as well. I do think this is the best Mario game. Up for debate, I understand, but in terms of its relevance and what it did, understandable. Tetris, you can't not have that.
I mean, Tetris is like still consistently the highest selling game of all time, and I mean, it is like it's revolutionary, man. The idea is so simple.
Yeah, I mean, think of everything that's come from it: Dr. Mario, Candy Crush, all kinds of stuff.
Are you going to throw shade at Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Okay.
It's a wonderfully mastered.
Yeah, it's basically
game.
a perfect.
It is a perfect game. It's not my favorite, but I'm agreeing about why they chose these from the perspective of an editor for Game Informer.
Yeah, maybe we just ran in different circles, but like the Call of Duty thing, it's like I didn't get on the Call of Duty train until Modern Warfare 2. That was the one that I remember more people playing, but maybe we were just on the wrong train. Is that how it was for you too?
That's the problem. Modern Warfare 4 came out in 2007. So Modern Warfare 2, I remember
10 years ago then?
Yeah. Final Fantasy 6 I know is very relevant. I always thought that Final Fantasy 7 was the more popular and revolutionary one, but I also have never played a Final Fantasy game. So
Final Fantasy 7 is considered like one of the best PlayStation games.
It's a SNES game.
Final Fantasy 7?
Oh, sorry. 6 is a SNES game.
Yeah, 6 is for the SNES. I've never played 6, but I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah.
I think the reason why 7 probably isn't on this list here is because it has aged poorly.
Okay.
Like, the battle system is still great, and I played it recently in the last year, but man, does that game look like balls. It looks it looks so bad.
Yeah. And that might be why Ocarina of Time doesn't age as well.
And
for the Zelda standpoint.
Sure. That's the thing is that like there's a great podcast I was listening to, Game Scoop, this past week, and they had a good debate about how the games that will age the best are pixel art games.
Yep.
Because like polygons will always continue to be more advanced, you'll always get more lifelike features, and as that progresses, the older games will start to look worse. But pixel art is such a defined art style that it will look good for 100 million years. Like Celeste is going to look beautiful forever because Shovel Knight, exactly, because it's like these games are so designed and cartoony. It's the same reason why like old Mickey Mouse cartoons still hold up.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Modern Warfare is really the only discrepancy I have. I understand
in the top 10.
Yeah.
Sure.
Red Dead Redemption, and I wouldn't say that you have to get rid of the Call of Duty game. I would just say the one that they chose. But if you're talking about multiplayer shooters, I don't know why GoldenEye didn't get higher than it did in this list.
GoldenEye doesn't play very well.
No, but it's
for relevance, for cultural relevance.
Red Dead Redemption, so good, solid. Skyrim, talk about a global phenomenon. Witcher 3, I hear nothing but good things about. Michael's the one who's actually played a lot of it, and he loves it.
Yeah, it's an incredible game.
Just on the outside of the top 10, just a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. Miss Pac-Man, I would agree. I wouldn't say as high as they have it, but I agree that one's definitely better than Pac-Man.
Sure.
Minecraft, again, from a phenomenon standpoint.
What space is Minecraft at?
12? Maybe not quite as high, but again, this is Game Informer. And I think when they're making this, they're thinking about sales, too. And also, if you think about what Minecraft did, starting from the development, the small that it did, and then when they got their check, which was, for however many billion that they sold it for.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, I remember playing Minecraft on a friend's computer in early access beta that was like free download online in 2006.
Yeah,
2007. I mean, it was around the time of Call of Duty because it's like. That game's been in development for a long time.
Yeah. And then a couple other highlights. At number 15 is our boy BioShock 2007.
Would you kindly move that up on the list to like space number 6?
I would put it at...
I'd probably put it right between Skyrim and Witcher.
So here's what I would do. I would cut out Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and I would throw BioShock in at 7. I like BioShock 2 more, but that's a personal thing. But I think in terms of the game design and its relevance and importance and just how good it is, I'd put BioShock 1 there at 7. Another one that I think is, I mean, obviously I'm biased towards The Last of Us, but I understand why. That is, as popular as it could be kind of niche in terms of global phenomenon. I'm surprised Super Metroid wasn't higher. I heard nothing but just like, oh, it blows your mind and it's so good. And also Portal. I thought Portal would have been higher.
Is Portal 1 or Portal 2 ranked higher? That's a mistake.
Portal 1 is higher. Portal 2 is 30.
Portal 2 is 1,000 times better than Portal 1. And I don't understand how people think. I hear that debate all the time that Portal is better.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Portal 2 is more fun.
I was happy to see Uncharted 4 crack the top 50 at 44. Sure. That's cool, but I think that's deservedly so.
Yeah.
I was surprised Mega Man 2 wasn't higher. This is the one that confused me. Pokemon Red and Blue is the highest rated Pokemon game they have in their 300, and I get it. It's because it's the first one. It sits at 37.
Is there another Pokemon game on the list? Or
Gold and Silver was on the list. I always have thought that's better. That's like, when you think of a sequel, talk about a kick-ass sequel. Like, I understand it's an RPG game where you go out and catch animals. But
baby's first RPG.
You play through an entire story arc, and then you go back and you revisit the one from the first game. That's pretty baller.
It's a big game.
Plus, I think Silver and Gold age better because of the color, and Red and Blue's black and white.
Well, that was going to be my thing. Was that I think that
it should have been yellow.
You could go for yellow, but as good as Red and Blue are, I think Fire Red and Leaf Green are definitive versions of those games, and I think that if I'm going to go back and play those again, I would rather just play Fire Red and Leaf Green, or my personal favorites, Ruby and Sapphire. But I
was surprised that didn't crack the list.
Smash Brothers also pretty high.
They have.
I mean, like that's like one of the best fighting.
They
games
have
of all time.
Melee ranked higher than any of the other Smash games, which I would agree with.
Oh, I would agree with that too. But like, I mean, like,
I think
I would have put it even lower.
Yeah, I think it's just a party game,
for sure.
I'm trying to think of if there's any other ones that stuck out to me that I thought got a little robbed slightly.
I was happy to see. That's surprising that Mario 64 is so low because that is the best N64 game, and it like still plays well today, even though it doesn't hold up visually.
Yeah,
I was really happy to see. I don't know where it was placed. I think as I was flipping through it, but my personal favorite BioShock game, which is BioShock Infinite, and that made the list, which I was really happy to see because a lot of people hated on that game right when it came out for being so different from BioShock, but it's got the best story of the three. I think it's got the coolest sci-fi elements, and the location is just awesome. I love the creativity of Columbia.
Your game, Persona 5.
Persona 5 is awesome. Probably the best RPG I've ever played is Persona 5.
One of our fan favorites, Uncharted 2, comes in at 112, which I think is pretty good. Gauntlet, I thought should have been higher.
What number is BioShock Infinite at?
I'll have to go back and look.
It's right there.
117.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of what the critics liked, they got it right. I don't know why. I just loved playing the second one. I think it's because you get to be a big daddy, and I was just like, I am the big daddy. So
yeah, second one plays better than the first one, but I think the story is just not as satisfying.
I was really happy with these. I was glad that these cracked the top 150.
Majora's Mask
and Arkham City.
Yeah, buddy.
Those are two of my favorite games. So all in all, this is, if you guys don't have a copy of this, if you're not signed up for the subscription, I think it'll probably be online, but you could also go buy this at any GameStop for like $3 or $5.
Yeah.
It's worth reading through. I think it's cool. I also have the edition. This is crazy. I have their top 200 when their 200th issue came out downstairs. I saved it, and they had a different game ranked number 1 when they did 200. They had the first Zelda, the original Zelda.
The original Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, 87 Zelda. That was their number 1. I think this is a better ranking.
Oh, for sure.
So you could tell that their editorial staff has kind of stepped up their game a little bit.
Sure.
I think their Gameinformers have gotten better in terms of a magazine. But yeah, it's an interesting read. It's fun to get some blasts from the past as well as seeing some modern relevance, such as the Switch even cracking the top 100.
Yeah.
Kudos to Nintendo. But yeah, it's cool. I think, we've done our own personal rankings, but if I had time to go and play all 300 of these games, I would. I just don't. But
I wish I had the time to do that. Man.
Yeah.
There's just so
much to play. Did you ever, I'm looking at the top 10 again. Are there any that you didn't play? Because you've played Link to the Past, as have I. We've played Mario Bros. 3.
I played Mario Bros. 3 to
You've played Tetris. We've played GTA. Did you ever play World of Warcraft?
So I messed around with World of Warcraft once when I was in high school. Never really got into it, but I played it enough to kind of get the gist. I mean, I played other similar MMORPGs.
Yeah, I played for like 2 years when I was in middle school because the only friend that I had in Georgia, because I was homeschooled, he also played, so we played together. I've never played Final Fantasy.
So that would be the first one that I haven't played. I haven't played 6 all the way.
Yeah, I've played Call of Duty 4. I've played Red Dead, just not all the way through. I know it's
Red
heresy.
Dead, such a good game, man.
Yeah, I need to.
Such a good game.
I've only played parts of Skyrim, and I haven't played The Witcher 3 at all. I've just watched it.
Yeah, I played The Witcher 3, not finished every facet of the game, but I beat the main quest line.
Yeah. But yeah, so.
All right, awesome. Well, that was a cool dive there. I appreciate that. I love talking video games.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I've got.
Yeah.
So do you have any comic book shops?
Yeah, just a quick one. Okay. Again, if you're a digital comics reader, you can get them easily, but go support the real stores. It was a good week this past week with the wrap-up of Dark Knight's Metal and another chapter in Doomsday Clock. But the one news topic that I do have since the last time we talked is DC, in addition to all the good they're doing comics-wise, not on screen, but comics-wise, they're making good moves. They're adding a new label, and it's called the DC Black Label. And it is gendered towards fans of darker, more grounded adult DC stories. So they will be for mature audiences only. And so far, they have announced 5 or 6 titles. There's going to be 2 Batman books, 2 Superman books, 2 Wonder Woman books, and a Superman story. So far, they compared the stories that they're coming up with to, long-lasting seminal books like Watchmen, The Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns, stuff like that. With some of those creators even writing them. So one of them, I believe, is Superman Year One, which was written by Frank Miller, who wrote The Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One. And it's going to kind of do another rehash of a more mature version of Superman's origin. So it's written by Miller and drawn by John Romita Jr. Snyder and Capullo, who've done Metal and that run on Batman, are doing a Batman story. Brian Azzarello is also doing a Batman story. There's a really cool Wonder Woman book that I'm excited for, written by Greg Rucka, who did a lot of Wonder Woman stories, but it's about her mom and her mom's rise to power as Queen of the Amazons, which sounds pretty rad. And then they're doing some other stuff, too, with some minority characters that don't get a lot of light, such as Martian Manhunter, the Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and a couple others. I want to say Zatanna or something. So they're diving into some deep character stories, which is pretty exciting in light of all the other stuff they're doing with Brian Michael Bendis' Superman and Snyder's Justice League and all this stuff since Rebirth. So they're just doing really fun. That's the one thing they do. Like, they want to be able to make their movies where they're like throwaway side stories. It just doesn't seem to work on screen. But in comics, it's cool because it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you read a 3-part prestige format Frank Miller Superman story?
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles. Because it's not confusing in comics for some reason. It's just like timelines are just so skewed everywhere, but somehow it works, whereas on film it doesn't. But yeah, so that's they won't be coming out until a little later in the summer. I think that Superman one's going to be coming out first. But yeah, if you're a comic reader who doesn't necessarily enjoy some of the storylines right now because maybe they're too kind of happy-go-lucky or whatever, and you're into those mature seminal stories like Killing Joke and Watchmen, it sounds like these should be up your alley with some creators who know what they're doing.
Yeah. I did have a quick question. That new series from Robert Kirkman, has that...
Oh, yeah, Oblivion Song?
Has that come out yet? Did you read it?
Yeah, I read issue 1. I really liked it.
Okay.
The other one that came out that same week is called Gideon Falls, and it's like a horror sci-fi book. They're both really good. Image published. The Oblivion Song is an interesting concept, but I don't want to ruin it for you.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, but they've only had one issue so far.
Interesting. I'm not a huge Kirkman fan in terms of Walking Dead. I've tried to get into it before. Didn't really take.
Yeah, I've read about 40-plus issues of Walking Dead.
But Invincible's the one that I need to
Invincible
read. Invincible
is so good. It's so good. I've read about 50-something issues of Invincible, and it's amazing.
Cool.
But Oblivion Song, he put like a little letter in it. It's like Walking Dead, because of its cultural appeal, is the one that's going to keep going. And he said that the reason how he's able to keep coming up with creative stories for Walking Dead is he takes breaks with these little side projects. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's cool. It's worth the look. Nice. But yeah, that's all I really got.
Okay. Do you have a Dat Cave?
No, I do not.
I've got one for you.
Yay.
All right, so...
Let's go to the Dat Cave.
You ever go to fan theories on Reddit?
No.
So there's a great subreddit that you should check out sometime called Reddit sub fan theories. Uh-huh. And basically it's just people that have like theories about pop culture, movies, and television, and stuff like that, and they just kind of post them there. This is an interesting one that I found that kind of, because it's an episode of Radio Vanity, folks. We've got to have a Star Wars topic.
Of course.
This is posted by Flagnut1 1 year ago. So this was before the time of The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Says, Kylo Ren was a mediocre Jedi. This was my original thought when I first saw the movie, but I decided to wait until some of the hype died down before posting it. I postulate that Kylo Ren went to the dark side because he was at best a mediocre Jedi. Here's how I believe things went down. Luke started the new Jedi Academy and things were going pretty great. He has a bunch of students and teaching them from the ways of the Force like Yoda taught him, but I also believe that Luke's academy was very different from the old academy in one way. He did not teach lightsaber combat, or at very least, he was withholding those lessons for students who earned and or needed them. I have a couple different ideas backing up this part of the theory. First being that significance placed on Luke's lightsaber as if it is a rare thing. I understand because it is also significant because it is Luke's, but I think that it is telling that it's not a new lightsaber. So the theory goes on for a while, but it was saying basically the gist of it is that this guy, before seeing Last Jedi, thought that Kylo Ren, his turn to the dark side was not because he was too powerful, but because he just wasn't good enough.
He was inadequate.
And then that's why his lightsaber is all broke ass. That's why he, burns everything down. He gets a little bit frustrated and everything like that. So my question to you, John, is I want to know what's your fan theory?
For why he turned to the dark side?
No, for anything.
Anything or Star Wars?
Anything. I mean, Star Wars was the one that I read because I thought that was an interesting way to view Kylo Ren's character as him not being too powerful but being not good enough. Obviously, in The Last Jedi, that's kind of it's hinted that Luke senses his power in the scene where he brings down the house.
Saw the darkness growing in him.
Sure. Yeah. But I want to know: are there any theories that you have about movies or television or any sort of property that you have?
Yeah, I have a theory, and I joke about it, but I kind of want it to be true. Okay. And that is that I honestly do believe that this is how it could end, is that in Game of Thrones, the whole series is a dream that Bran has after he falls out of the tower when he is pushed by Jaime Lannister. And he wakes up, and he's not paralyzed, and everyone's still alive. I know that's like a Bob Newhart cop-out, but I just have this thing.
I want that to happen so
I have this theory that because of the three-eyed raven stuff, the raven is just it's like enhanced his dreams to be lifelike. And he's just like, the whole series, the reason why we're able to follow various storylines is because of the Raven. So Bran is just watching all these unfold, and then he wakes up and it's like only like a day or two has passed.
Well, so my question to this is like, after, if that is what happens, so say that happens in the show and that's one of the, you know, the plot points in this last season.
Yeah.
Does it continue on after that? Is there like any sort of plot progression?
No.
Or that's just it?
That's it.
There's no resolution. There's no nothing. No. It's not like he predicts these things and then they can stop.
So what happens is like he sees all this happen, and then his dad comes in, Sean Bean, Ned Stark, and he's about to leave for King's Landing to be the King's Hand, and he's like, "You don't go, please." And then he like tells him what happens, and then nothing goes down because Ned Stark never goes. Ned Stark never goes to King's Landing, so then nothing bad ever happens. And then they're able to catch Cersei and Jaime, and they're incesting because he tells him, like, hey, yo, I got pushed out because these two were having sex. And then you nip that in the bud. And as a Lannister fan like Michael, he probably hates this. But then Robert Baratheon never has to die. Joffrey never gets on the throne. Nothing bad happens. So everyone lives out their life peacefully. It's great. Khal Drogo and Khaleesi, they're happily married. And the stallion that mounts the world is just a nice little kid. And yeah,
I like that theory a lot.
That's my theory. That's the one that I like the most. Yeah. My other theory is that have you heard the one? I like this one. It's not really mine that I came up with, but that Cars is a dystopian future.
I've heard this one.
I like that one quite a bit.
I like the Disney theories are interesting. Like the
connective threads.
Yeah, the connective threads between all the Disney movies is really interesting, and the fact that Pixar has like leaned into that a little bit and not suggested that's really like what it is, but like. Yeah. I mean, there's Easter eggs in each movie, but they get really specific. Like the girl in Monsters Inc. grows up to be the witch in Braid.
Yeah,
Brave. You've heard that theory?
Yes.
That's so wacky.
It's wacky. Yeah.
It's really wacky.
It's very crazy.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have any?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I like the theory that. I don't know. I think I heard this somewhere, so I don't want to take credit for it. But that in the Spider-Man trilogy, everything is happening in Mary Jane's head.
That's funny.
Like she's just delusional and thinks that she's marrying a superhero and like, everything.
Huh.
I don't know, because it makes sense why she seems to be a focal point of the movies at a lot of times where she really shouldn't be.
Story. Yeah.
And she's like crying all the time, and she's like kind of manic depressive and like schizophrenic.
Yeah.
She cheats on her boyfriend. She's a movie star who doesn't really make it. You know. Yeah. Kind of works out like that. She ends up working at a diner. Like that's a real. I don't know. I like that theory quite a bit. I also like the Kylo Ren, that Snoke was Jar Jar theory.
Yeah. I don't.
Snoke being Plagueis, though, is like the real one.
Yeah.
I still kind of believe that. I think that Snoke gets payoff in Episode 9. I don't think he comes back necessarily, but I think you have to pay off that character somehow because the fan reaction has been so... I think they will.
Fuck the fans, dude.
I just think that the backlash against Snoke has been like one of the loudest things in for me for Episode 8. It's like the biggest backlashes I've heard are Space Leia, Witch Leia, and
Wicked Witch of the Space. Yeah. And then,
have you seen the edit where they do? Then it's like the Wicked Witch of the West like laugh.
Yeah.
So I think that they will bring attention to that somehow, but not in an overly obvious way. They will like Luke will monologue to Rey about like who Snoke was and how like it's like I knew your father before he turned to dark. You know, it's like something like that.
Yeah. Do you think that Rey's parents really are nobodies, or do you think JJ's
I think there's somebody
gonna fix that?
There's somebody because people hated that too.
I liked it. Who do you want her parents to be?
I don't know.
Just not nobody?
No, I think that's like it's not lazy, but it's just not fulfilling. Like
why does everyone have to be related though?
No, I'm not saying that she should be related to somebody. Like I think it would be super lazy if it would be equally as lazy if her parents were Obi-Wan
or Han and Leia.
Well, that could bring an interesting dynamic in, like
where she's related to Ben Solo.
Yeah.
I think it's too easy.
I don't think that's easy at all because like
they were getting some romantic feels in there
exactly.
in The Last Jedi.
And
I guess it is Star Wars.
And you have all that stuff with Han and Rey in the first movie in 7 where
he kind of knows her.
Yeah, it's like
that's the problem.
Something's up.
That's the problem with JJ.
Something's up.
Is he lost it, man? You know what I mean? Like he came in for The Force Awakens. He's like set up all these mysteries, and then now everyone's pissed because The Last Jedi is like, we don't need all these mysteries, and then everyone's like, no, we do, because if fans can't, complain on the internet, then what is pop culture?
JJ is always better at asking questions and answering them.
Yeah,
and
people didn't like Rian Johnson's answers because they prefer to theorize than to actually have resolutions. That's human nature.
Yeah, well, and this is a whole nother topic, but like it's not that I don't really think it's that people didn't like Rian Johnson's answers because there aren't like really answers. I mean, they're continuing this story. It's not like the overall arching question is like, how is Rey going to overcome this adversity, right? How is she going to overcome the evil? Because it's good guy versus bad guy. That's the story that they've laid out in front of us. Yeah. It's Star Wars. And Rian Johnson gave us the middle chapter, which is the Two Towers, which is like the movie where you're supposed to you don't have to start anything and finish anything. You just have to do whatever you want and make it an interesting sort of climax. I think people are mostly upset because I felt like most people didn't deliver.
Because he took a shit in J.J. Abrams' lawn. He's like, all these characters from The Force Awakens are meaningless.
I just was not satisfied with if the middle movie is supposed to be like the highlight, the climax of the trilogy, where it's like the most rising action happens because you're building up to the finale. I just wasn't satisfied with that being the climax. I think that as over time as I've thought about it and I rewatched it a couple days ago, it's a good movie.
So
I'm just personally not satisfied.
I think the thing that people have with it is that like if you think about middle chapters, they do something that sets up what the third chapter is going to be, and Ryan didn't do that at all. He made his own contained story with the cards that he was dealt, while also getting rid of some of the cards he was dealt in the process. And now he's giving it back to JJ, and I have no idea how he's going to pick it up. But at the same time, Snoke's cool. I like Snoke quite a bit. I don't see why people are so mad about it. Because if you go back to the original trilogy, the Emperor didn't show up until Return of the Jedi. No one knew anything about him, and he just started zapping people with lightning, and people were fine with it. And then he died in that one movie. He has 10 minutes of screen time, tops. And he was one of the most iconic characters, and people loved it. And then they fleshed him out in the prequels, and then people hated the prequels. But people, revere him as a character. And then Snoke, you get 2 decent appearances. His appearances in The Last Jedi are way better than The Force Awakens.
Oh, way better. Because he's actually there, yeah.
And he actually does stuff, and he has these really cool powers where he can connect people across space and time. You see how powerful he is. He can float people. He can zap people. He does all this stuff. And
it's just that you can't make an entity a compelling character.
True.
And I think that's what I was looking for. I can't speak on terms of the masses anymore, so I'm just going to say I. What I was looking for was I wanted Snoke to be a developed character. Because you have
How many developed characters do you need, though, before it's too many? That's the problem, is they had so many characters after The Force Awakens that they were getting into Game of Thrones territory and Lord of the Rings territory, where you need to make a 3-hour movie that spans across multiple storylines.
But then doesn't that argument then invalidate the addition of Rose?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Rose is a great character.
But why did they add this character and not flesh out a character that we already had,
Yeah.
That's more Game of Thrones than anything. It's not developing a looming bad guy is more justified than bringing in a new nobody and then making her the focus of the heart of the film. Because Rey doesn't have as many emotional scenes. She has 3. Rose has the ending with Finn. She has the death of her sister, and she has the giving into the Force thing with the kids on the planet. She has 3 pretty big moments with that are story hinging. I mean,
yeah. I think so. Rian Johnson introduced 3 characters: Rose, Holdo, and Benicio del Toro. 2 of which will not be coming back. I don't think Del Toro will resurface.
I bet he'll be back.
I would like him to, but I don't know if he will. I don't know if JJ liked him or not. Holdo can't, obviously, because she's space dust now. And then unfortunately, Rose needs to come back because they set that up. Unless
it's going to be the worst love triangle ever.
Unless they kill her in a coma.
I hope so. I hope she dies.
They could. Have you seen Alien 3? Have you ever seen Alien 3? They kill all the characters from Aliens except Ripley in the beginning title card. Yeah, you could write her out just as easily. It's JJ's thing. I mean, that's Mark Hamill has mentioned something that's really interesting. Is that this trilogy is developing in the here and now, unlike the first 2 trilogies
where they were planned from the get-go. And we have
it's like whoever's in charge of the next installment can do whatever the fuck he wants.
And we've also dealt with a lot of unforeseen consequences.
Yes, unfortunately.
But anyway, that's your Star Wars topic. That went on for a little bit longer than it should have. But
as always,
it's Star Wars. We'll have a plenty of more Star Wars to talk about. If you liked the show today, though, what you can do for us is very simple. Go on our social media, leave us a like or a retweet. Tell your friends about the show. And if you really want to, go to radiovania.com and click the big red subscribe button and watch our videos and content there. Go check out the few of us. Go watch John be a junk asshole and read the script from Gary Oldman, Academy Award winner.
I'm not the Academy Award.
No,
Gary
that's
Oldman
right. Yeah. Email us content at radiovaniashow@gmail.com. Give us your questions, comments, concerns, or fan art. If you have fan art of us, send it in. We'd love to see that.
Have you got fan art?
No.
Oh,
I just want it. I want
of
fan
the
art.
Two
really
of us.
I want like a matte painting of like like the Last Supper, except for it's you there, it's me here, the mic in the middle, and then Bentley sitting in the chair in the middle, with his paws like this.
That would be awesome. I want fan art of me as Chewbacca and you as the roasted pork.
Oh my god!
How funny would that be?
All right. Do you have anything else before we close this sucker out?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right. Have a good week then, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right, signing out.